I'm back. I got my new camera yesterday. And I thought I was going to give you an exciting video because I was so excited about having my camera. There's some issues around, so I'm not so excited this morning. This is the type of camera I'm using. This is the one I dropped in the water. But I really like this camera. It records well, both for audio and video. So I just got a new one like this. This is the camera that, if you go back to my very first videos, I was doing with this camera. And as soon as you move the camera, the picture goes blurry and pixelated. So I couldn't record any videos with that. Now, since of course I had the quality up, I'm not going back to this quality. The phone, no sir. So I had to wait 2 weeks to get the money to order that camera, and then I had to wait almost a month for the camera to come. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record what I'm doing here and my plans, and this will be basically a hodgepodge of my plans and my woes. I'm going to do another video of the salt harvesting, and that's what I was in the process of doing when I dropped my camera in the water. Now it's windy today, and it'll be a couple weeks before that video is up. These are the same kale that was here last year. And you see that broken stem in there? And we'll go over here. There's a couple more broken. There's voles in the house. When I was moving the Tiny Tim tomatoes, I broke this one, so that's why he's small. But this broken limb here, that's because of the vole. They've been climbing these plants. I opened up one of the vegetable marrow plants, and 2 of the seeds had already sprouted. So I put them in soil, and then later on I planted it up in here, and it was doing wonderfully. And it had several big leaves on it, and you see the branch here, so there's a big leaf coming out here, one down here, and I had it down here under this light. I come down one morning and one leaf was gone. I thought that the animal might have got in from there, so I put this board here, but it got in again and ate the other leaves, so it must have climbed up the pole here and come across. In that pan I planted ginger. It's not growing because the vole had been digging in there and disturbed it several times, but I have 2 upstairs I will show you. You remember the peppers that I put in the earlier video when I put them up here? They were just sticks, and I said they're not dead, they were just sitting down here in the cool all summer. After I started using the wood stove here, they started to grow. Now the aphids and whiteflies are building up here now. I have to take that out and spray it off, but I'm not worried about that. It had several peppers already growing on it, and once again vole issues, and it really damaged this plant over here. I have the 2 rosemaries here growing to replace and see if I can get another indoor rosemary. And here's 2 Tiny Tims. Technically the reason I put the cover on this was because of the animal too. And I moved some out. Originally the plant that got the big leaves that was here. And then the Tiny Tim tomatoes in the cups, they were there. That was to bush crop cucumbers. Now I have to get the bush crop cucumber going again. These here are all peppers. They weren't sprouting, so I had to put the heat mat underneath this to get them to sprout. And at that point I decided I will leave them there so that I can video when I get my camera my transferring them over to cups. See, this one here, he's got a couple of real true leaves already. This is Ring of Fire hot pepper, Padron hot pepper, and yellow, I don't know how to pronounce that other word, that's another hot pepper. And then the red bell pepper and the California Wonder, which is a green bell pepper. Now these evergreen hardy green onions, I'm starting them to see what they will grow like inside, but they are perennial onions. So when I put them out into cups or into a pot, eventually I'll just plant them out in the garden and let them keep on growing. I have the top done for my desk. This is stained spruce, and then I have a border of just plain, and it's coated in fiberglass resin. I need to put another final coat on it to both get it finally smooth and level and to fill up some seams. This is almost done, and then that's as far as I got with the upright part yet. That'll be the place where the desktop computer is going. Now back to the issue about the voles. From my past videos you might recognize this. This is the habitat pile for the voles. They were living in there. And my neighbor had a rat issue. I think I mentioned that in a few videos. Well, I don't know if you can tell on the screen there, but there, and going in there, you see how big that trail is. I put my hand down there. That's not voles, that's rats. I had a rat in my house, but I found out they've taken over the vole house, so now I don't know how much of a trouble I'm going to have with voles, because this habitat pile, like I said, was keeping them out of buildings, but also during the summer the voles could store up food in here, and then they just stayed there all winter. They were never hungry, so they weren't really searching through and chewing on beets and that in the vegetable garden. So that's an issue. I have to get rid of the rats. And look what they've done in here. Now, this morning I come by, and the place where they were getting in and out, there was no sign of them. And I came in here and looked over this. I looked inside, there was 2 dead rats. So they got up and fell down inside there, probably smelled the little bit of hen's feed that was there. So what I've got done now, I put this board up here just in case another one does come in. But it seems like it was just those 2 that was doing all the mess in here, and they have everything tore right to pieces with the insulation. They're going after that, and maybe they were taking it back over to the pile. I don't know. I do know though that there is at least one more rat around here. So now that the voles have lost their home, of course, they're looking for somewhere to get in. There was a trail outside running back and forth to the patio, and then of course consequently up and underneath and to this area. That's where the rat got in initially. A squirrel used to come in and bring its cones in here. So I had stuffed it full of this just regular fiberglass insulation, And that kept the squirrel out, but it doesn't keep rats and voles out. So that there now, that is the spray in foam from one of those cans. I've got the area sprayed full of foam and I got that plugged off. The issue is all along this back part here, the rest of the basement wall is fine, but this wall is not quite out to the edge of the house, and so there's a seam along the entire wall that I will have to get the spray and foam and fill it up. Rats come and go, apparently. I don't think they stay in. And you see a tunnel-like spot there? So that's probably where he come in last time. And I have another little tunnel there. The insulation that was here was really disturbed. And you see now, I did have one can of the spray foam. So that's plugged off now. And I have to get some more cans to do, like I said, the rest of the space and plug off that entire area so the rodents won't be coming in and out. I'm doing a test here. Germination test. Put you back on the tripod so I can use both hands. These are the seeds from the unknown squash, the C. maxima. It was a really beautiful squash though, really tasty. And I'm going to grow a bunch next year. I put these in, I'll have to find out, I have it recorded what day I put them in. That was on November the 18th. So I have 1, 2, 3 that sprouted, but I think more of them are going to sprout yet. This was the first one that sprouted, of course. But that's 3 out of 10. I have 10 seeds there. And I have 140 seeds or something. There was 30%. I mean, that's going to give me 40 plants if it keeps up that. But I think they'll sprout more than that. This is my first year really getting deep into, okay, how do I cook squash? And I had roasted butternut squash yesterday. Oh, it was good. So next year I'm going to be growing a lot of squash. Squash soups, squash pie, roasted squash. Oh, it's delicious. I was given these. That's those little automatic watering things. Not sure how well they work. So I just stuck them in there full of water. I have another rosemary plant growing here. Greek oregano, chives. This is lavender. And that's winter savory. Here's the ginger. So this one, they did disturb it, and this is some tape I put on backwards, trying to get them to stay out of the pot. And he is though getting in this one. Maybe he can just jump over and not touch the tape. But they're growing nicely. Looks like he was in the pot with the tomatoes. That Tiny Tim tomato there, it was twice that size. But you see how abundant the groups of tomatoes can be? And the one side, it was so weighed down that it broke. It was a really big plant. This one and the one I showed you downstairs are the same size, but like I said, I broke the other one trying to move them, so that's why it has to regrow now. And these will go. I'll probably have tomatoes coming off that other one downstairs, and then by that time that one ends, those two little ones I showed you, they'll be getting up close to starting to flower. I don't know if I told you, so I'm going to tell you again. This was the plant last year that had all those crinkled leaves on them, and you'll see with this one over here. See how the leaves are crinkled here? I haven't gotten this one to regenerate yet, but this one has grown leaves back nicely. And as the weather cooled down, I'm noticing that the growth here by the window is changing. But I got this. If I stick this in here, you see how it is up on, getting up close to wet now? Peppers like it rather dry. So what I do, I flood irrigate it, and then I wait until it gets down to dry again before I water them again. And there's my sweet marjoram that I thought was dying, and that side didn't die. I have some coming back from the root right here. I think I need to water this the same as peppers, and hopefully I can get this to rejuvenate, because I don't have any seed and there's no way for me to get a plant yet either. But if I can rejuvenate this, of course, then I'm experimenting, and I will learn something new, right? And here I'm doing a germination test on carrots. These are carrots seed that the plants out in the was out in the garden this year. I collected the seeds, and I'm going to take the wide angle off, and so I can get real up close here. I just sprinkled them over the top. You see, they're sprouting. It's not 21 days yet. It's actually quite a bit back from that. I don't remember the exact date, but there is quite a few there that have sprouted, so that's excellent. What I did, like I said, I sprinkled that over the top, and then I just covered it in plastic like that to keep it moist. I was keeping these two bags in the house. These are onions, Tropicana longa in there, and the red spring in there, and they started to sprout, so I put them out in the sunroom where it's cooler, because the other ones in the sunroom did not sprout. So it was too warm. Now, it's quite a mess out here, so we'll ignore the mess, because what I want to show you, of course, these are the furthest north tomatoes that puts on their one flush and then dies anyway, because they're determinate tomatoes. I have chocolate peppers here that, despite it getting down, well, it was maximum of 10 and going down to 6 degrees Celsius, they're holding on pretty good. I'm going to have to pick this one. I think this one is, yeah, this one is ready to come, and this one back here. I'm getting deformed tomatoes, peppers. I don't know why, but they are really tasty. And this one is kind of what they're supposed to look like. It's a little bit deformed, but not much. Let's take the bags off here and see what we get. A little bit of mold. I guess I'll leave the bag off for a bit and let this dry out. These are the pepper plants that I'm hoping to get to be a fair size. So yeah, I'm going to have to come out and when it's warmer here, take the bag off and let these dry out. Beaver Lodge slicer, it's alive, but I don't expect this to continue to live because it's a determinate. That was it wasn't Scotia, but this was two of the other determinate tomatoes. This one is the silver fir tree. I don't know if this is going to live or not. What you see here, this is because it's, like I said, it got cold, and depending on the variety of tomato, we'll put up with different temperatures. Stupicate is still a good tomato, and I'm pretty sure, well, I shouldn't say I'm pretty sure, I think it's indeterminate. You see? Still got tomatoes on it that I'm waiting to ripen. And this plant is, you can see little bits where it died back because it's cold here, and they'll take a long time to ripen, but it's still growing, and it had put on new flowers. So I'm hoping that they're indeterminate, and that'll be my first lot that when the temperatures warm up again, they'll just continue to grow, and I'll have a very, very early crop of tomatoes next year, if so. And the last thing is I have a series planned. It's going to be, I hope, one video a week on perennials. Why I choose to grow the perennials that I did, and their qualities that should make them good for the climate that we have here. And I'm going to start with trees, but I'll eventually get down to the smaller plants as well. It's going to take a long time, but it will be one video per week. And so if you're interested, don't forget, hit that subscribe button and the bell. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.